Welcome to Your Dollars Making Sense, a podcast hosted by investor and realtor Richard Neese. Your Dollars Making Sense, where financial intelligence is the key to your financial freedom.
Hey everybody, Richard Neese here, the host of Your Dollars Making Sense. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If this is the first time you've tuned in, thank you. Your Dollars Making Sense, where we believe that financial intelligence equals financial freedom. That's what we've been trying to do for a long time now. We believe in helping good people get to a better place. And if you don't know me, my name is Richard Neese. I'm a local real estate broker here in North Alabama. We've been working with investors, single family, multifamily, storage units, all sorts of different types of properties, building houses, spec houses, apartments, you name it, we've done it, and we've enjoyed doing it. But really, the show is about you. The show is about building your financial intelligence, helping you understand what an investment is, what a good investment is. How do you even start building that baseline? That's what we're here for. We want to help you everywhere we can. We brought financial advisors on. We're going to bring other folks on, other experts in their field to compare apples to apples. What is a good investment? And every show I start off the same way. You can't work on your investment strategy. You can't start planning the future. You can't jump into an investment until you know where you're headed. You've got to know what that end goal is. You've got to know if it's $1 million in the bank, or if it's a certain lifestyle, if it's just being able to pay for your kids' college out of pocket. Whatever that is, that's the goal that you've got to set first. Once you have that goal, you can make your way towards it. Easy. We can help you with the different investment types. Obviously, I'm a big fan of real estate, but there's other great investments as well. Some people would say invest in yourself, and I would agree with that 100%. We had a show about 3 weeks ago that said, what is the best investment you've ever made? And I told you it was investing in myself. It was spending money in a coaching program. A coaching program that opened up my mind, opened up the way I thought about things, so that I could do things that weren't being done in our local area. I could share information, share ideas, and that's been the best investment I've ever made, was in myself. It was buying those audio books. I'll tell you one simple investment that each one of you should do right now, if you don't have it, is invest in an Audible account. Audible, you can go online. I think it's $14.99 now. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, you can link up through that. You get one book a month, $14.99, one book. And you can pick as many as you want. Obviously, you can pay for other ones. But having that account was one of the best investments. And I gladly write that $14.99 auto deposit or check or whatever you want to say. I gladly pay that every month with the Audible account. So look it up if you don't have Audible or some sort of audio book platform. This is huge. There's so many people, and this is kind of getting off topic. We'll start talking about some investments here in a minute, but I've got so many people. I've had interns, I've had employees, and I ask them, I say, hey, what do you do? What's your morning routine look like? Well, I roll out of bed 5 minutes before I go to work, and I throw some clothes on, I jump in the car, and I listen to talk radio all the way through. Okay, well, talk radio can have its benefits, obviously, but one thing that I push folks for is listening. You've got to listen constantly. You've got to read constantly and grow and learn. If you're not doing that, you're really taking a step backwards. So last week we talked a little about single-family home investments. We talked about some of the pros and cons of them. We talked about financing side. If you were taking notes, you should be contacting a banker or getting to know some bankers. You should be working your tax assessment side. Some are better than others. So we've been blessed to have a great one, learning about different deeds, learning about different types of sales, who's buying what. Another thing we talked about was learning your market by way of calling rental properties. Finding out how much they're renting for. For rent signs that's a huge source of information. You can call a landlord and they'll tell you about properties that are renting over here, properties that are for sale. Most people in this real estate game, it's a smaller group of people than you think. So you talk to one, they're going to lead you to another. There's so many people out there that are looking to give information, help each other, because, I've had many a time being a landlord here locally where I've had landlords call me and say, hey, I had something happen. I'm not going to be able to help these tenants out. Can you help me? establish that relationship is important, knowing who these people are, because most of the time if they have one house for sale or house for rent, then they're going to have multiple houses for rent. And that's a huge part of the networking side. You can never have too many contacts in this field because you never know who's going to help you, or you never know who's going to need help from you. So it's always good to give back in that way too. So those are the 3 things that I pushed last time. When we were closing out shop, when I was finishing up, we started talking about tax liabilities. And I said that one of the worst things you can have is to make a good bit of money off of a property, sell it, and then turn around and have to pay 30% to Uncle Sam or more and not be ready for that, not understand how that process works. We've got, like I said last week, we've got some folks with Christy Boyles or Boyles Tax Service. She does a great job for me in the tax planning side. And then my attorney, Jamie Blanton with Jacob Title, they both know how to work together, and that's the important part about creating a team. Bankers, attorneys, accountants, people that know their business. They know how to help their clients out more than just reading a blog or just listening to a podcast. These folks are studying in depth on a daily basis to get better at their craft. So what I would do is I would talk with my accountant and I would talk with my attorney and say, how can I minimize my risk? If this is a one and done deal, you're fixing and flipping. I had grandma's house. I fixed it up. I got it for a great price. Now I'm selling it for a better price. I'm going to make some profit off of it. But you know what? This just isn't the thing for me. Well, you at least need to know what you're going to owe tax-wise. Because unless you live there in the state of Alabama for 2 years, you took up residence there, you're going to owe some sort of capital gains tax, depending on how long you held it and whatever the case might be. But your accountant can help you with that. So if you're just going to do it once, it may be a good idea just to find your tax liability, know that you're going to have to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever you made off of it, a percentage of it, and then move on. But if you're going to do this over and over again, there's something called a 1031 or like-kind exchange. Now, I'm not going to do the little, there's no representation, all that stuff that the attorneys do because I'm not an attorney. But I do know 1031 or like-kind exchanges are a great way to defer taxes. You don't get rid of taxes. They never truly go away. I'm sure there's some ways that they do. But as far as the tax side goes, a 1031 like-kind exchange basically says if you sell a property and you have somebody else hold the money in an escrow account, you have an agent that does that, which could be an attorney. When they hold the funds, you've got to find other properties prior to the sale. And then when you can actually put that money tax-free, your profit, into the next home. So if you find another property that's a fix and flip and you put the money into it, you never actually touch the money itself because that's when it becomes taxable, then you can shelter that or defer taxes on it. And obviously you want to talk to your attorney, you want to talk to your accountant to make sure that the properties are truly like kind. You can't take a piece of land and sell it and then roll that profit into some sort of major industrial project. But they're going to be able to help guide you through that process. It sounds complicated, and it does cost. I mean, there is paperwork involved. So if you're talking about a profit or a tax liability of a couple $1,000s, it may not be worth it to go through all this headache. But if you are talking about $30,000 or $40,000, it definitely would be worth looking at this before you sell. And a lot of folks aren't familiar with this. It's not common unless you're in the real estate business. But it's a great tool if you want to start fixing and flipping. We had talked about it last week where you buy a house, you live in it for 2 years, you fix it up, then you sell it. There's no tax liability there after those 2 years, up to a certain amount of money. So if it's a single person, it's $250,000. If it's a couple, it's $500,000 worth of profit on that. So there's many different avenues that you can approach this by. But like I said, you want to make sure you get your guidance from your legal counsel, from your attorney and your accountant, and then move forward on it. But the key is having that knowledge, using that team of professionals. You want to make sure that you're taking care of covering your bases so that everything is going to go smoothly or as smoothly as possible. So those are a couple things to think about. The tax side, I always tell folks, it's great that you're making money, but you've also got to pay attention because you can make a lot of money and then spend that money, even if it's paying off debt, and then you owe another debt to the IRS. So you've got to be careful with that type of stuff. I've been talking on here for about 10 minutes now. It seems like I'm rambling a little bit, We have been so blessed over the last couple of weeks since the show started. A month and a half ago, we picked up so many new sponsors, people that are investing in our community on a daily basis, whether it's Stephen Gannon with Anytime Fitness or 412 Pub House. I mean, those guys, they're constantly investing in the community, in his church, into charities. I mean, there's so many good people, and they make a great meal, too. I mean, they've got a great chef over there. I go, it seems like it's about twice a week now I go over there. That probably contributes. He's kind of got me in this weird little conundrum, I think you would say. I go to his restaurant and eat, and I have to go over to the gym at Anytime Fitness to get back in shape. So it's, but they're great people either way, and they're providing great service, and we thank them so much for the sponsorships. We'll go through a few other sponsors on the other side. We've got a couple breaks coming in. We always love the folks at Cotton Home Inspections. Chris is a great friend of mine. Always looking to invest in the community any way he can, whether that's by starting a nonprofit or helping with a nonprofit, giving to the local law enforcement or first responders. Great people. So on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the BRRRR strategy. And that doesn't mean it's getting cold, which it is kind of getting cold out. I don't know if you guys felt it this morning. But we're going to talk about the buy, rehab, refinance, and rent out strategy with single family homes. This can be used in a lot of different ways. Make sure you tune on the other side to Your Dollars Making Sense. We believe that financial intelligence is the key to financial freedom. Hey everybody, Richard Neese here, the host of Your Dollars Making Sense. We appreciate you guys tuning in for the second segment. The way I talked last time, it may be the last segment. We usually try and get 3 good segments on here. I want to give a quick shout out to Ron Jr. at WKOL. Ron's been helping me with this, with the podcast and with the tech side. If you want to, we'd love for you to check us out on Spotify. We'll be coming up on iHeartRadio and a few other places. We've got Google Podcasts. We'll be posting about that on our Facebook page. So please check it out. You can go back and listen to several episodes for the folks that are listening to us on WKOL. It's a little bit hard to go back and replay those things unless you go on a different media outlet. But this is a great way to do it through Spotify. I'll be posting that later on. Thank you, Ron, for helping me through all that stuff. And we got some other great folks. We got Robert Brantley. We're going to be talking about the BRRRR strategy. So part of that rehab process is typically new appliances. I mean, you're going to have appliances, whether it's new or old. If you need appliances repaired, Coleman Appliance Repair can definitely help with that. Robert's a great resource. We've got several rental properties that we constantly have a refrigerator going out or a dishwasher or stove or something like that. They're always quick to come out. He gives us great service. I'll tell you, the best thing about Robert is he's an honest guy. I mean, he's going to tell you the truth on it. There's been some times when he said, look, I can do $500 worth of work on this thing, or you can just go buy a new one for about $700. Not a lot of folks would have done that. Obviously, he doesn't make a profit off of the new purchase. Robert's a great person. We appreciate all the work that he does. So we're growing. We've got sponsors coming in. We've got guests coming on. We're on podcasts. I mean, we've got Spotify and iHeartRadio. I really appreciate everybody that's supporting us out there. It seems like about once a week I have somebody tell me, hey, I was listening to Your Dollars Making Sense, or hey, we really appreciated when you were doing the real estate rundown, and that presence of the gratitude and the folks that are using and applying the knowledge that we give. That's huge. It makes me smile to know that folks are using what I've got, what I'm putting out there, and they're really taking steps towards that financial freedom. So if you're just tuning in, first time you ever listened to us, this is Your Dollars Making Sense. I'm the host, Richard Neese. We're talking about real estate today. I'm a real estate broker, real estate investor. We've got apartments, we've got houses, storage units, and we want to pass that knowledge on because it is attainable. I'm telling you, the folks that are sitting there right now thinking, man, I don't know how to take that first step. I don't know what to do. We can help. 4 years and about 10 days ago, I took a step to get my real estate license. I'd never owned anything other than my own house. We bought that through a VA loan. I was a deputy sheriff. I had no idea what I was doing in real estate, but I took a leap, took a chance. I made the jump, as Steve Harvey would say. And if you haven't heard that podcast, listen to it. And so 4 years ago, we took the leap, the jump, and since then, we bought houses on the courthouse steps. We bought apartments. There's so many things, but that first step was that first step. It was taking that jump. It was, I'll tell you, just like I tell anybody, I cashed out 2 retirements to get into real estate sales, and God has blessed me with great clients. We work hard for those clients. But it's really investing in yourself and trusting yourself that you can do this. There's so many ways you can work in real estate. There's so many ways that you can invest. I've done several of them. I'll tell you, and we may have a day trader come on and argue and fight with me tooth and nail. But I was a day trader for a little while. Yep, that's right. In Phelan, Alabama, I had my laptop and I was day trading, and that lasted all of about 6 months. I had a few good days and a lot of bad days, but I realized that I wasn't the smartest person in the room and I needed to learn. It wasn't just about blips. Now, there are a lot of people that make money with the blips in the market. They're smarter than me as far as that goes. I would much rather have a tangible asset like real estate. I would much rather improve somebody's home, make it a livable condition, fix up a house and sell it to somebody so they can have a new home there, whether it's apartments, provide storage facilities. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can work in real estate. So let's talk a little about the BRRRR strategy. So BRRRR, which if you've ever listened to biggerpockets.com, you can go to their website. You can check them out. They are a huge resource. It's a paid service. They started out as a community and then built that out to a paid service. Not mad at them, but it makes it a little bit tougher for the new guys coming in. They've got a lot of free podcasts. They've got a lot of free videos and stuff like that. Use that in addition to what we're doing here. There's so many resources out there. Take them, learn from them, learn a piece, apply a little bit. If you apply a little bit every day over the next 2 or 3 years, you'll be moving in the right direction. You may not have all the things that you want, but you'll be headed in the right direction as far as that goes. So the BRRRR strategy is buy, rehab, refinance, and rent. Why would I do this? What does this mean? So if you find a great deal on property, let's say that you're driving through town, you find a sign on a house, and you call your local real estate agent, Richard Neese. We buy the property at a great price. Let's say it's 50% of the market value after it's completed. So what you do is you buy the property and then you rehab it, just like you would a flip, except we're not going to flip it. With this one, you buy it, rehab it, and then you refinance. So why is that refinance so important? When you refinance, you're able to pull the money back out that you put into it. And you've got to plan this out. It's a strategy, so you need to have somebody either help you with this, like we talked about before, a mentor, or you need to go through it several times to understand how it's going to work. But in most cases on investment properties, banks give up to, sometimes it's 80, sometimes it's 85% of the value of the property. So you purchase it on a rehab loan or a cash or however you decide to purchase it. And then when you refinance it, what you've done is you've created equity, you've created value, and you no longer have your cash in this property. Why is that important? Because you're going to go look for another property. You're a real estate investor. You find more deals. We've got to continue to find more to help grow so you can have that financial freedom that you're looking for. The biggest fear that people have in real estate is that they're not going to have enough cash to finish a project, to sell it, or they're afraid that the renters aren't going to pay. Well, in this case, you've pulled your money out, so now you're using bank money, which costs interest, but you're using bank money, and you have that nest egg to protect if the AC goes out, if the roof is messed up and it's not an insurance claim, if a tenant doesn't pay, you still have that cash available. If the tenants do pay, they're paying down your mortgage, and you literally have, and Robert Kiyosaki would agree with this, you literally have an infinity return on investment. How does that make sense? How can you have infinity? Because you have no money tied up in that actual deal yourself. You've already pulled all your cash back out, so now you're using house money or bank money or however you want to call it. That's the strategy. You can use this with single family homes. I've personally done this with apartment complexes where you go in and you provide the value of fixing it up, putting new tenants in, use all that. You have the capital outlay on the front end, and then you refinance to where you get the appropriate cash flow. And if you guys don't remember what cash flow is, return on investment, I'm going to do a term show probably next week about the real estate investment side, so you guys will know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. The first couple shows we dug a little bit deeper into that kind of stuff. So if you want to listen to the first couple shows on the podcast or on Spotify, you can check those out. But you find out what's your return or your cash flow, what you want it to be. So I want $200 a door, $100 a door on my investment that I actually make after expenses have been paid. So now I'm getting cash flow and somebody else is paying my note down, and I have no money in the actual property itself. It seems like a perfect situation, right? It's not an easy strategy to do, and there are some risks obviously involved. But for someone who's looking to build an investment or build a rental profile, a portfolio, this is a great strategy because it doesn't eat up the cash that you have. What do you mean by that? Why wouldn't I just keep the money that I have and have a higher return, or I have more cash flow? Well, cash flow is great until you need a down payment on the next property. That cash flow is going to long-term provide for you, but some banks don't allow you to have equity as in lieu of down payment. Some do. So that may be something you work with. What I look at is having the availability of my funds. And now we'd have to have Christy come on, and we'll have Christy come on at some point with Boyles Tax Service to talk about this. The other benefit of this is that a refinance is not a taxable event. Why is that important? Because I can actually profit from this without paying taxes on it right now. One thing that does change is the tax base changes. So you actually, when you sell it, you would have to pay more taxes, but you can depreciate that out over the next 20 years as well. So there's so many angles to this. There's so many factors, and it may be, if this is your first time listening to the show, it may be a little bit much for you, and that's okay. You can always contact me. You can always send us a message, do whatever through Facebook or text message or phone call, and ask. I'd love to sit down with you. That's actually why I started this show, is because it seems like every week I have somebody call me and ask me, hey, can we go out to lunch? Can we discuss real estate? Can we discuss investing? Yes, we absolutely can. I'd be glad to help you in any way possible. And that's not because I'm going to get a real estate sale off of you. It's because anybody can do this, and anybody willing to put themselves out there and do the work deserves the reward. That's what it comes down to. If you want to achieve financial freedom in this day and age, in most cases, it's not going to be from a company. You're going to have to find a way, a side hustle. You have to find something that's going to get you to that place. And in most cases, it's not going to be a government job. It's not going to be the company, Boeing or something like that. It may be. You may make enough money and make good decisions through your investing that you have that retirement, but you're not going to get a pension plan in most cases. This isn't, and we saw how this works. This isn't Detroit, from when they were getting the pension plans, huge pensions. That doesn't happen anymore. They're relying on you to invest your own money. How are you going to do that? Is it going to be real estate? Is it going to be 401k? Is it going to be IRAs? What is it going to be? That's the question you got to ask yourself, is how am I going to get to that place? Figure out what place you want to go and then start looking at ways to get there. I think real estate's a great strategy for that. I think single family homes are a great strategy as well. I like the apartment side, but everybody has a different risk tolerance. I don't mind dealing with tenants. Some people just want to fix and flip and use a 1031 exchange and build up that nest egg. There's so many different ways you can do this. And this doesn't have to be the way. You can put your money in CDs if you want to be super conservative. Put them in CDs. Put them in bonds. I mean, the municipal bonds and things like that. There's so many different strategies, and we truly want to help you. Your Dollars Making Sense is about you. It's about the person listening on the other side. How can we help you? That's what we want to know. We've all got our own areas of expertise. We've all got things we're good at. The real estate side is the side that I love, but we want to help you find what you love. And you may love going to work at your job right now. You may love your career and want to stay in that and not deal with real estate or not deal with headaches or leaky toilets or this. There's nothing wrong with that. You may want to keep having an investment strategy that's a little more conservative or that you're hands off on. That's your option. We want to give you the financial intelligence to get you to that place to where you decide, yes, this is what I want to do. Or no, I don't really care for that. Let's do something different. That's what we're here for. We got some great sponsors we want to give shout outs for. Bales Property Management. Dale Bales is a builder as well. Dale knows all about rental properties. I'll tell you that. He's got rental properties coming up. He's building in the city limits, the Coleman city limits and Haley's Cove. We've got some other places going up around town. Give me a call and we can schedule a showing for some of the stuff that's already built. or we can do a pre-sale on it. We can find you a lot, and we can build a custom home for you. Then, like I said, we've got Christy, which we talked about, SHH Mechanical, Josh Hoagland. Josh has done a lot of good work for me. He does a lot of stuff as far as the HVAC goes. Anytime we have a unit go out, he's out there very quickly taking care of our needs. We appreciate what you do, and we appreciate the sponsorship. And we got some good news coming up. If you guys are driving around town, checking it out, we've got a billboard going up for Your Dollars Making Sense. Our sponsors are making that happen. We want to highlight all the local business people. We want to highlight those sponsors that are making a difference in our community, because that's an investment too. We've talked about money. We've talked about health investments. We're going to talk with Stephen Gannon about eating healthy. We're going to talk to him about Anytime Fitness and their workout regime, how it's almost it's a great environment because there's no pressure, there's no stress as far as when you go in there. You can work out comfortably, whether you're working out for the first day or whether you're a bodybuilder. I've seen both types in this gym. Lots of good people over there. Zach Gordon's my personal trainer. We're working through some injuries right now, but once we get out, I'll get back in there and start trimming up again. We appreciate all you guys. We're going to have a little bit of a short show today. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please tune in next Saturday at 10 a.m. I hope you guys enjoy the football games today. And I want to give a quick shout out. We're going to be having an open house on County Road 1466. If you guys know where Experiment Station Road is in Coleman, from 10 to 12. So if you're listening right now, you can go over there, take a look at a new build. Beautiful home. It's probably 2 minutes from the city limits in Coleman. Make sure you stop by from 10 to 12 on County Road 1466. If you guys have any questions, you can give me a call, 256-708-1511, and we'll help you get to a better place. Thank you so much, and we hope to hear from you later.
Thanks again for listening to Your Dollars Making Sense. Remember, financial intelligence is the key to your financial freedom.